Respect is a four-way street with players, coaches, parents, and officials.
Whether you're a trainer, whether you're a coach, whether you're an official, you're part of that game. So live up to the strongest values of that game.
The only way you're going to have a culture shift is people all getting together and realizing that showing respect during the game is going to make our game better. We all want to hashtag grow the game, and the only way we're going to do that is making the game inclusive, bringing respect, and allowing people to want to continue playing.
This game, to us, is our game. It's a sacred game. We play it, some say, for the pleasure and amusement for the creator. But who represents the creator? It's the spectators that come to the game. It's the youth that come to the game. You play the game for them. And in doing so, you embody the values of what this game is all about.
Respect in lacrosse is really critical because of the level of physicality in it, and sometimes tempers flare and people get excited, but it's even more critical because all the people involved in lacrosse are there because they're passionate about it, and the last thing we want to do by being disrespectful is extinguish someone's passion for lacrosse.
I do think that's a part of our game that we can do better in lacrosse, is showing that respect to the officials. Respect sometimes can be confusing for some people, but it's just about being a good person and treating people the way that you want to be treated.
Having a ref that, you know, they've probably played a lot of their life, and just them recognizing you, and after the game you shake their hand and they tell you that you had a great game, it just makes you feel good about yourself, and I think that you feel better about yourself when you just have respect for someone.
I think just like kind of that moral code of conduct when it comes to any contact sport, anything you do in life. You wouldn't want to do anything you wouldn't want somebody to do back to you. No matter how competitive you are, so let's all go home safe.
The biggest compliment I can get as an official, if I've called a penalty on a player, if that player beats me to the penalty box, because I call the penalty, I run and I report the penalty to the penalty box. If that player just runs and beats me there, that shows a lot of respect to me. A coach that has lost 10-0 and shakes your hand after the game and says that was a very well officiated game. That I have a lot of respect for.
It's gotten to a bad situation, almost to the point where it's on the brink of collapse due to the lack of respect to the officials on the floor. The assaults, the insults, the constant badgering to officials on and off the floor. It's taken it to another level.
The lack of respect that we've seen over the years, it's just crept in, and it's not one incident or one thing, but I think as coaches, as players, as officials, as managers, we have to bring respect back at all levels and in all aspects of the game.
We can't play. You can't play a sport without a referee or an umpire, and unfortunately, especially in the minor leagues, most of those referees are kids. A lot of my girls that I coach referee. I gave it my best shot when I was in junior high, and it was terrible. It was not a good experience for me personally. I just couldn't handle what I was hearing.
In a 2-hour game, you're probably making 400-500 decisions. And the game is so quick, it's bang, 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 bang. And are you gonna miss things? Yes, you are. You're human, you're gonna make mistakes. Own up to the mistake, let's move forward. Some people cannot let that mistake go. And that's where it escalates. It's not something that's only unique maybe to our sport. It's crept into a lot of sports. And it's sad to see every week or every month you see assault on an official. When it comes to that, it's a sport, right? It's for enjoyment. I think a lot of people lose sight of that.
Respect for officials and coaches, I think, is the most important thing in our game right now. We're trying to attract new referees and keep referees in it, and really we have to change a culture, and we have to understand that without referees there is no game, and if we're not respecting the officials, lacrosse is going to suffer.
There's been some horrific assaults on officials in the game of lacrosse, to a point where I know there's criminal charges pending on a couple of these cases. It's horrible. One of them literally got beat up on the floor by a player. I couldn't believe when I heard this happen.
It's not acceptable what's happening to referees. If we don't have referees, we can't play the game.
We want to keep officials in the game, and we want to keep officials officiating for a long period of time. So if we treat them with that disrespect, we're going to lose them.
Right now, there's about 3,400 officials box officials across Canada. Every year, we lose about 30% of those officials. For a province that say has 1,000 officials, they're losing 250 to 300 officials every year. It's consistent across the board year after year after year. What's the reason? Where have we failed? Where have we not assisted them? Where have we not given the tools for the tool belt? When you ask the official that's dropped out, why aren't you coming back? Some of the times it's just not for them, but a lot of the times it's because of the abuse that they're subjecting themselves to. They're realizing that as a 14, 15-year-old kid. That's something we have to stop and get that out of not only lacrosse, but out of sports.
When you're ever going to deal with culture change, the message has to come from leaders in the sport. We need to make respect a full-time part of lacrosse.
Everyone's here for the same reasons. We're here to play lacrosse. The refs are here to officiate. If we didn't have the refs, we wouldn't be able to play lacrosse. So we need to just take a step back and sort of all be on the same page, know that we're all here for the exact same reason.
I think sport is an opportunity for us to really lead by example. If you see someone being disrespectful on the field or off the field, let's say something and stand up about it so that we can make sure that our sport is moving forward in such a positive way.
I think a lot of this can be just completely stomped with communication. And that's communication with the referees and umpires. And it doesn't have to be abusive or mean or aggressive. Everyone should be able to go have a civilized conversation.
Have I ever refereed a perfect game? I'd like to think so, but absolutely not. I make mistakes, but you learn by your mistakes, and that's the key thing. Is like 28 years later, I still learn something every game. And if you can figure that out every game, you're not going to be perfect. The coaches aren't, the players aren't, and certainly I'm not.
The more respect we show in lacrosse, the greater our sport is going to grow with the participation rate. Officials staying within the sport, coaches staying within the sport, having that longevity for players, coaches, and officials, I think is really going to showcase that we are treating each other with better respect.
Good game, England! Thank you, officials! Thank you, fans! Way to go, Canada!
This is going to take some time, but I truly believe this can be taken out of the game. I'm not naive enough to think it'll be taken out of the game totally, but let's make an effort. I think we've got a great group of people, and like I say, collaboratively, let's get this figured out and work together.